Alright, here we go. We'll try that again. One of these days I'm going to get it right. So, let me open the new stream because I guess I got it wrong the first time. And we will kick off in just a second. There we go. All right, here we go. So today's topic came to me from I sat in with the Damn Quails out of Oklahoma at Green Hall, and of course, I had about like a week or two notice, and then I got like it's a full set, so there's 20 songs, 15, 20 songs that I got to learn in a couple weeks. And I thought maybe I might have some help for some of you that plan on going through this soon or are going through it right now. Maybe a few tips, or maybe this will be really dumb and won't help at all. But I've had to do this a few times, right? I did it with Whitey. I think when the first time I played with Whitey, I had 3 weeks notice. And if you know anything about his music, it's very steel heavy, a lot of hooks, a lot of solos. This one with the Damn Quails is a little different because they don't have a ton of steel on the album, and they don't normally tour with the steel players, so it's more like I'm adding something to the band rather than I'm a integral part of it, right? I've had to do this with other bands too. But that's usually how it's going to go for you young guys that are waiting on your first real gig. Most likely it's going to be, hey man, this other guy is sick or he quit, and you're going to have a week or two to learn everything. And hopefully you know all the songs, but there's a good chance there's going to be quite a few of them that you don't. So hopefully we'll touch on some good ideas for you in learning how to prepare. And it won't be so much about steel guitar, but I'll do my best to kind of work that in. Okay, cool. So first thing is to, get a set list. Narrow down the set list as much as possible. And then, so this is what I got from Damn Quails. Hopefully they don't mind me putting them on blast like this. But what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We got 19 songs and then some extras. So first thing is make a playlist. Obviously it seems pretty obvious, but whatever you have, Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, make a playlist, and over the next 2 weeks, this is all you get to listen to, right? You wanted to be a musician, and sometimes that means you don't get to listen to what you want to. This is it. If the singer forgets a word, in 2 weeks you should be able to know what the line of that song is, right? So, listen to it while you've fallen asleep, while you're in the car, anytime you can. Just need to be listening to these songs. And that's really, if there's anything you do, that's the most important, to just know when the chord changes are coming, the song structure, because when we start like notating some of these songs, right, it's going to have to be really short, right? Especially like with the Damn Quails, man, I mean, we burned through 20 songs or more in an hour and a half. So that means there's not time in between songs to be looking like, okay, well, what's this next one, right? The only notes I'm going to have are going to be like the key and some basic chord progressions. All right, so after that, the next thing is just to start working on figuring out the chord progressions. We're playing country music, so for the most part, it's not going to be too difficult. you're not going to have a bunch of jazz chords. But depending on the band, like with the Dan Quails, the chords move pretty fast, and it's not your standard like 1-4-5, right? If it's a 1-4-5, let's see. These are my notes once I went through everything. The songs I know have a little bit less notes. The ones that I was really familiar with, like Fool's Gold, right? I know that one all day. I just wrote G just so I don't forget. In the moment, we can look like, it'll take clouding up your city, right? G1-4-5. That's really all I need to know about this one. Then there is a little bridge here, 4-5-1-2-5, right? So of course in the key of G, right? There would be a G, C, D, G, A minor, D, right? So that's going to be the bridge part. You do have a few minor songs. We have like Highest Self, which has a C sharp minor, the relative minor of E major. I made a little note about the 7th fret B and C pedals to just kind of give myself a bass. Sometimes I'm not the best at knowing where all my minor chords are, but at 7th fret B and C, once I know that, right now I know where pretty much everything is. And then of course a little key for the B and C's. If that's C sharp minor, if I go 2 frets up and release pedals, we got C sharp major. So that's a pretty easy way of figuring out where your B and C minor is. And then from there, it's just minor chord inversions. Cool. So let's take like California Open Invitation, this first song. We got the key of G. And after listening to it, I figured out it's a 1-5-2-5 for the basic verse chord progression. So let's just kind of talk about how I'm going to attack this song, because this song doesn't really have steel. I think it has some dobro. But essentially, I'm just going to take it from the pedals up position. We're in the key of G, right at the 5. Minor 2, right? We got 2 positions. We got the E flat lever 1, or we have the B and C, and then back to a 5. So with something like this, I'm just going to practice playing through that chord progression, just kind of improvising, keeping it nice and pretty. Right, kind of the nice thing here on 6 and 5 is that I don't have to press my B and C pedals if I'm just playing 6 and 5, right? Because I'm not playing the 4th string, I don't need that 4th string raise. And back to the 5. Now I'll try a different way. Alright, our E flat lever 5 chord. There's our E flat minor 2. Back to the 5. Harmonized walk up. And then just keep attacking it. Same idea. Using A and B instead of B and C and avoiding the 4th string. This time, instead of dropping down to the B and C position, I can just pick and pedal out, because those are the same notes, right, as the C pedal. Saves me some trouble getting back up to the 5th fret. some harmonized movement. All right, once I'm feeling good with that, and of course we can work it through the pedals down position, right? There's our G, the 1, the 5, minor 2, A pedal, right? And back to the 5. And I'm just going to do the same thing, trying it different strings. And that's essentially any song that doesn't have steel. That's how I'm going to attack the song, right? Just getting the chord progression. Less is always more, especially as you're starting off. It's better to kind of lay out of the song than hit something really nasty. So after listening through, I'm kind of going to differentiate the ones that are like, this is a song that I can make a little bit prettier with some steel guitar, and this is one that has a steel hook or a steel solo that needs to be nailed. And so that one in this set list is Rattlesnakes Through the Cotton. So that one we actually are going to spend time figuring out. It doesn't need to be note for note. You know, the far majority of bands that call you up just want it to sound good. It doesn't need to be note for note. Maybe, you know, call in some of the studio recording, but at the same time, if you got something better, try it out. So in this Rattlesnakes Through the Cotton, we're in this key of C, and you'll notice that I didn't write the chord progression there. That's because since this one does have a steel hook, I listen to this one more than the others, right? So I didn't really need notes there because my own playing is gonna set me up to get the chord progression right. So key of C, and it starts off with a little walk down. Now, if you listen to that song, I'm starting it off pretty much the same. But also, one thing that came up in the when we actually played it live is the song structure isn't exactly the same. So that kind of takes me to another point: is don't just go with studio recordings for this stuff. Go on YouTube, find live performances, because a lot of the time, you know, certain parts are going to be cut, especially for, you know, bands that are really known for their live performance. I mean, I don't think there's a single Whitey song that we play exactly like the recording. There's just different hits. And the Damn Quails, same thing. Man, there were just so many hits that are so freaking cool that I missed out on, because I was just going off the studio recording. So if you're lucky enough to be able to find some of those live recordings on YouTube, definitely go with that. On my YouTube, I've got all sorts of Whitey sets from before I started playing with them, where I was learning, you know, all those little hits that make up the set. But anyway, so this one, like I said, we're playing the exact thing, right? Or as close as we can. And if it's something that's outside of your skill level, don't be afraid to like bring it down a notch, right? There's so many steel players out there that are a million times better than me. Especially like some of the Larry Campbell stuff on Whitey's albums. When I started when I started with the band, I wasn't as good as I am now, right? Hopefully, all of us are better players than we were 3, 4 years ago, right? Um, so there's certain things that I just wasn't comfortable playing yet, but finding a way that's comfortable for you. If you got to do one less pick, right? Only you are going to notice that it's not exactly what the recording is, right? And that's something as musicians we kind of got to get over ourselves. Some of the perfection stuff, right? Make it simple. Right, that's gonna sound great. The crowd's gonna love it, and it's not so different from. So that's the next tip. Play within your limit, learn it within your limit, and then as you get more comfortable in the gig and you become a better player, then you can start adding in some of that other stuff. Cool. Man, I wish there was somebody here to ask some questions. Anybody got a question? I see there's a few people watching. Let's take a look at another song. Okay, so we're looking at the set list. This one kind of came up. The King is Gone, right? The George Jones. And I'm familiar with this song. I know it's in the key of G. And this song is, if you've heard it before, it's pretty much, it just goes from the 4 to 5. A lot of times we will get songs that are just like the chords move them back and forth, but it's just super repetitive. And so we really kind of have two options with this. Trying to keep up with the chord progression is just gonna sound monotonous, and it's gonna drag down eventually, right? Right, there's only so many ways you can play 4/5, 4/5. Before it's just like, I wish you would stop playing. So for the most part, I'll sit out through maybe the first couple, or maybe I'll play the first couple and then sit out the rest. Let them enjoy kind of the silence, and wait for it to really come back in. And wait for that last part, and then come in, hit him with some stuff. Yeah, ever do the king is gone. The other kind of option is to kind of treat the pedal steel almost like a dobro, right? Stick to single notes. And I hope you can kind of hear how that's different from me, trying to treat this like a pedal steel. keeping it kind of single notes. So that's just kind of a tip for like when the chord progression is really just kind of trucking through and going back and forth. Let's see. The next, I guess, kind of the last thing is weird chords, right? This Peace in the Valley song. Let's see if we can get it up there nice and close. So I know it looks like where is it? Right there. I know it looks like there's a La, right? Key of C, 1, 4, 5, 1. That's pretty basic. 6, 3, 4, 5. I'll get that up a little bit closer. Yeah, 6, 3, 4, 5. And then after that, it's the chorus does this weird thing, 6, 4, 1, 5, and then it hits a diminished chord. So you can kind of see I've got a little tangent off there of the different simple diminished chords. So if you remember our chords of the scale, right? We'll do it in G. Pedals up, B and C for 2, 3, pedals up 4, 5, B and C for 6. Then for the 7 diminished, right, be 13th fret with the F lever. So that's how we know how to make our diminished chords, right? Okay. We're in the key of C. All right, we talked about the 1, 4, 5. There's peace in the valley, I'm king of the hill. 4. To run your rat race, the 5. I'm standing still. Minor 6, A pedal. Boast in the mud of the minor 3. Right, E flat lever, time that I've killed. Pedals down for 4. And here comes the weird part. If there's, let's see. Oh God, I'm killing myself. The minor 6, is that what it is? No. Shoot, no, I'm confusing myself. Oh, it's the 4. 4. Okay, sorry. Back to it. I wrote the 4 minor there. So those ones. Alright, so there's 4. 4. There's the minor. E flat lever at 9. So from the pedals down position, there's the C, blues in the valley, I'm king of the hill. When you're on your red race, I'm standing still. Right, we talked about minor 6, B and C, minor 3, A pedal, that I've killed. 4. Alright, so then we got that same weird minor chord. A pedal minor, up a fret. So something with a weird chord like that, I'm just going to kind of hammer that one in. But again, just taking it through the chord progression. There's a nice nice one drop off the B and C. I don't even have to worry about pressing the A pedal, even though it's an A pedal minor 3, because I'm not playing the 5th string. Shoot, forgot the 5. Okay, so what was I looking at with that diminished position? Oh, okay. That's kind of a weird bridge. I'm not going to get into that, but essentially, if you look, I kind of wrote down my diminished positions, right? And those repeat. I got 3, 6, 9, 12. Right, it's the same chord, just building on it. Any questions? Does anybody have a question, comment? I know there's a few watching. If this kind of moving through the chord progressions, like musically, is new or difficult for you, I do have a whole series on this called Chords of the Scale. It's the videos are on YouTube. They're on the Patreon. But essentially, we're just hammering in the chords of the scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for the most part, we skip the diminished, hit a 5, back into the 1. And that's really what I just focus on. Each song, working through the chord progression. And then, of course, just time behind the guitar. That's really all I had to say. If y'all don't have any questions or any comments, when it really comes down to it, it's just about like, how bad do you want it? When I walked into that first gig with Whitey, I mean, all I knew was that I spent 3 weeks, that's all I did, right? Just listening to those 20 songs, tapping out what I needed to, laying out when I needed to, right? And just doing your best. But yeah, I guess that's it. If y'all have any ideas for future hang times, I'm all ears. Shoot me a comment, because I definitely would like to get together more often. And but you know, I can only think of so many topics. But I'm happy to get together whenever y'all have questions. Anyway, I will see you later, and I will see you with the rest of Graham Parsons Fortnite. Ooh, I got a good one coming up. We already did Lloyd. We did some Sneaky. We just did All Perkins. And we got somebody next. Heck yeah. All right. I'll see you later.